So as the idiotic, stupid dog, I really have to ask for forgiveness on this one. It's a situation where I guess I'm going into what you might call a race-based diatribe. All right, it shouldn't be that you concentrate so much on race, especially just two races. If it was all the races, all the different kinds of things, it'd be okay. But if it's really just African Americans and white Americans, that's the only thing you're kind of... It draws an inference of something unspectacular and something that I don't want to really get into. I don't want to even have to express. That's how it's discouraging. It's kind of like if you go fishing all day long. You're just patiently sitting there on your lounge chair, drinking beers in the hot sun. You're waiting for a bass to take your worm. Finally, the evening comes, you're like the catfish are biting. Everybody's catching fish but me. It's time to go home. You're reeling your line. You realize you forgot to put a hook. It's not like you forgot to bait the hook or something stole. You had a piece of line there with a sinker, a weight, and down below. It was like what they call travel. We could hook a lure or a hook. But out there at the end of the travel, there was nothing. You had no way to catch a fish whatsoever. But that's okay. It doesn't really matter. You enjoyed the day and you caught a nice buzz in the hot sun, so whatever. But it's like fruitless, so to speak. It's not really going to lead to anything. Much as this kind of thing here is the same way you could say this what this is. But correct me if I'm wrong, okay? So because there is a certain level of racism in America, or there used to be, granted there very much was as a dog I could search my remembrance and see the stuff that would make your blood curdle. So you're not going to argue that America has a racist thing, white versus black, okay? So let's just period, stop. So what happened was, whether you were, whatever it would be, you couldn't, basically your brand builders, people who wanted to build out their brand, that's how they were going to be powerful, that's how they were going to be successful, that's how they were going to live to. Like Nancy Pelosi basically is 80-some years old, contemplating finally retiring or not. She doesn't even know. She's wealthy, she lives in a posh area, she's an elitist, she's known. Well, basically just what she did is she built out her brand. That's why you're like, hey, who are the Democrats bringing up next? You got Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, two fossilized versions of their former selves. This is all you can dredge up, and they're staying in power. They're doing an excellent job as far as staying in power, staying at the top of the heap among the Democrats. They can ward off all their challengers, and then they defeat their foes, the conservative Republicans or whoever, the independents. They're defeating the other parties. How are they doing it? They built their brand out. That's why Joey B got the false chompers. He got the teeth thing, and he's got a few hair plugs. He stopped. He's like, gosh, I don't want to look like Elon Musk, I don't want to look like Fred Flintstone's older uncle, whatever. So anyways, they just build out their brands. Well, these people come along, African-American guys, they're denied access to the power. They can't get into Congress or representatives. Nowadays, yes, you got Herschel Walker versus the other guy down there in Georgia, okay? Two black dudes facing off, one of them's assured to be the senator, whatever. It's good. So, but in the old days, you didn't have it so much, and it's still not where it needs to be. Just put it to you that way. But you go back 20, 30 years, it was really very difficult. You had Colin Powell and not much else. But anyways, so you got your basketball players, you got your people like, I don't know, this one, that one, the other one, but just take an example of maybe start about 15 years ago, something like that, or maybe you go Kobe Bryant started maybe 20, 25 years ago, something like that. They build out their brand. That's what they did. They build out their brand. They did the basketball instead of going to politics or something or going to corporate America, which is a lot easier. You don't have to be, working on your craft so much. They spend a lot of time golfing and getting on yachts. If in corporate America and the politicians, they got it worked out. So they work like 25 minutes per day, an average of a 4-day week, 25 minutes. That's good. They know what they're doing. So they were denied access, so they built out their brand. No, basketball is what they did, but basketball is just the engine. That's just the thing that gets people started talking about them. If you want to be really rich and powerful and elitist, you got to build out the brand. And that's what they did. So many people, just looking at the African Americans versus the white people, it's just that they were denied the access to the halls of the true power, the Congress, the Senate, whatever. So they had to build out their brand in entertainment. They build out their brand in sports, whatever. So they're building out their brand. Well, the problem is that a lot of these people on the Democrat side just happens to be a bunch of old white people, Their brand building days are over. They're coming in. Mother Nature's going to put them into the ground for the eternal dirt nap. So anyways, until they're resurrected, of course. But anyways, what we're looking at here is that who's coming up next? Who are the brand builders coming up? There's a dearth of brand building. Because the top people garnish all the limelight, and it's hard for the next one. So you don't know who's coming up, and it takes a few years. The old-fashioned way to build your brand up as a politician, believe me, Nancy Pelosi was like, look, when she was a young hawker, she's like, I got big breasts, and that's about what I'm running with. Let's go. And she did well for herself. She built the brand up from there. She became a liberal, whatever. But who's coming up next in the Democratic Party? Who's building that brand? You look over at the Republicans. The best thing that happened to the Democrats was that it was shown that, probably would be the best thing if Donald keeps on going. And, because the only way the Democrats can win, ironically, is if Donald drags down the Republican Party and fractionalizes it. Then the Democrats have a shot. But you got DeSantis, he's building up his brand. These other individuals, they're building up their brand. Mike Pence, he builds up his brand, just like Joe Biden built up his brand by becoming the vice president before he had a shot at becoming the president. That's what Mike Pence is doing. Mike Pompeo, he's building up his brand. They're building up their brands. And who's going to see, if Donald doesn't screw it all up and suck all the air out of the room, you're going to have bigger brand builders, because the Democrats, they're still sitting on Mount old white person, and there's a lot of people want to build their brand up, but we don't even know who they are. I couldn't name 5 Democrats coming up after Nancy and Joe Biden. Couldn't name 5 of them. I'm sure they're out there. I couldn't name Beto O'Rourke, the perennial loser in Texas. That's what we got? I don't know. But what's going to happen is some of the African-American people, they're going to start to see, hey, I can build up my brand over there now. There's a shot that I got an opportunity to build my brand up. I don't know about corporate America, but in politics, big national politics, you got a shot to build up your brand, and then you can get in that game and you don't have to get your heads beat in. None of it really matters. And it's probably off kilter, it's probably off base, it probably doesn't really explain anything. But that's the thing. It's not trying to explain anything or how it's related to anything else. It's just a simplistic dog observation.